What is wrong with us? Right now, you can see live photos from Oxnard, California, where ICE is lined up by the hundreds to arrest a bunch of people that's been working in the fields 12 to 14 hours today. You said it would be criminals, the worst of the worst. And except for one MS-13, nobody has seen jack shit out of you. But you're out there with riot gear, submachine guns, armored vehicles, trying to arrest a bunch of farm workers who are so tired they can probably barely drag themselves home. What is wrong with us? The worst of the worst. Nobody's arguing about you taking criminals. Nobody. But you're out there getting a bunch of old ladies and people that have worked 12 to 14 hours a day and letting the criminals go free.
So you wanted proof that the immigration policy would be affecting everyone? Look at your grocery bill next month and the next coming months. ICE ramped up raids in places like Ventura County and parts of the Central Valley fields in California. They went through fields, they went through houses, you name it, grabbing people up. Now, farmers are seeing up to 70% of their workers not showing up to work, left by fear of being arrested. And that means fruits, vegetables are going unharvested, which means they're going to go bad in the fields. A 1/6 generation farmer put it like this: if 70% of your labor force vanishes, so does your crop. And most local workers don't want to pick these plants. And it's a real worry. Cropland is worth nearly $60 billion, and that could be at risk of going into bankruptcy, being sold off to the next bidder, and that bidder may not be an American company. That could be a problem. Workers themselves are scared. One said, if I show up to work, I don't know if I'll ever come home to see my family again. The bottom line is, this isn't just hurting farms. It could raise food prices and disrupt supply chains nationwide. Be sure to follow along as I continue to provide updates, and let me know your thoughts below in the comments.
Farm workers asking Trump to spare their staff and their farm workers from these mass deportations. Nearly 2 million of the farm workers don't have status, and they're afraid that there's going to affect the food supply chain. I mean, I'm afraid about that too. Between all the tariffs and the mass deportations, the price of all the food we eat is going to skyrocket. You thought inflation was bad. This is going to be worse. So anyway, it's good to hear that they're banding together, asking Trump to spare, but it's not just them that need to be spared. This is according to a Reuters article just recently. My name is Ruby Powers, your go-to immigration attorney.
On their hands and knees for hours at a time, these California farm workers brave the elements daily to put food on America's tables. Now, many are forced to choose between going to work and risk arrest or stay home and lose their livelihood.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
Ventura County fields were among the many locations targeted by immigration agents in early June raids that rattled California. The chilling effects of those raids are hitting hard a state that is the top producer of agricultural products in the country.
California's agriculture is a $60 billion industry. More than 1/3 of all vegetables and 2/3 of fruits and nuts in the United States are grown right here.
34-year-old Marisol says she came to the U.S. from the Mexican state of Guerrero 12 years ago, looking to make an honest living in a safe place.
So you've been paying your taxes this whole time?
Sí.
And now grappling with the fear of being deported each day she goes to work. Many of us are scared to go do our jobs, she says, but then we have to pay our rent and bills, and we have no option but to go to work and pray nothing happens to us. She and her husband are both farm workers. Her main concern if they were arrested by ICE, she says, is their 4-year-old daughter. I don't have anyone that could take my daughter, she says, except for her daycare teacher. Even those in less precarious situations are afraid here. Yes, I am scared, Patricia says. She's heard of American citizens and legal temporary workers getting detained by ICE agents. She says they just come and sometimes even hit you before asking if you have authorization to work or not. The Department of Homeland Security, which oversees ICE, did not respond to CNN's request for comment. For growers like Guillermo Jimenez, who depend on this workforce daily, it's more than a nuisance, especially in summer when produce is ready to pick.
es temor también para nosotros porque
We are also fearful, he says, because we've sowed the seeds, but we can't harvest without people.
y si no se levanta mi
Jimenez says if that pattern continues, he will have to scale down.
voy a tener.
You want to get rid of illegal immigrants, quit eating. And that's for everybody. That's, nationwide. If you want to get rid of them, quit eating. That'll solve the problem.
But when only 5 pickers showed up this morning to harvest his sweet potatoes, farmer Keith Smith saw possible ruin, the loss of his $500,000 crop.
They're running scared because of this new law.
And you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble, bad trouble.
Smith's 200 acres need 20 pickers, mostly Mexican nationals.
There is not enough documented people here to supply that workforce.
Most of your workers are here illegally.
But sure, if they got documentation, they got a better job working for me.
Fernando Aldeman, a Mexican national, has worked Smith's farm since 1992. Everybody's just scared.
Yeah.
Now, are you here legally? No.
No.
So, are you scared?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared,
Smith's pickers make about $100 a day. He supports immigration laws, just not this one that threatens his third-generation family.
Hey everyone, today we're diving deep into a pressing issue: the mass deportation of migrant farm workers in California. Let's get straight to the point. This is not just a political maneuver, it's a full-blown crisis affecting our food supply, our economy, and the lives of countless individuals. When farm workers are rounded up, it's chaotic and brutal. Imagine men and women who've come to this country, often risking everything for a chance at a better life, suddenly finding themselves in handcuffs facing deportation. Families are torn apart, children left without parents, and communities shattered. These deportations don't just affect the people being removed, they send shockwaves through entire communities. Farm workers are the backbone of California's agricultural industry, and when they're deported, it's not just a personal tragedy, it's a disaster for our food system. Now, let's look at the history. Back in the 1950s, the US government executed Operation Wetback, a mass deportation campaign targeting Mexican migrants. Over 1 million people were forcibly removed. What followed? A labor shortage that crippled farms across Southwest. Crops rotted in the fields, farmers lost their livelihoods, and the economy took a hit. Sound familiar? Now, fast forward to today, where we're witnessing a similar pattern. This isn't just about immigration, it's about the livelihoods that depend on these workers. So, what happens to our food chain when farm workers are deported? We're talking about a significant disruption in the supply of fruits and vegetables. California produces nearly half of the nation's fruits, nuts, and vegetables. When workers are gone, fields are left unharvested and prices skyrocket. Consumers feel the pinch at the grocery store and food insecurities rises for everyone. This isn't just a problem for those in the fields. It's a problem for every damn person who fucking eats. You want those avocados? What about your strawberries? You better start caring about the people who pick them, motherfuckers. Let's take a look at Florida, where a recent immigrant ban has created a similar mess. Farmers in the states are struggling. They're unable to find workers, leading to a significant drop in crop yields. It's a wake-up call, everyone. When states decide to turn their backs on immigrant laborers, they're not just hurting the workers, they're hurting them fucking selves. Crops are left to rot and the agricultural economy faces a major downturn. This isn't just an issue for California, you guys. It's a nationwide crisis that we all need to address. You like those fruits and vegetables for them fucking smoothies for your vegan lifestyle? You better care about the mass deportations of farm workers. And what's the takeaway? That mass deportation of migrant farm workers isn't just a legal issue. It's a humanitarian crisis that directly impacts our food supply and our economy. If we continue down this path, we're heading for a shitstorm that will affect every fucking one. We need to recognize that the vital role that these workers play and advocate for policies that support them, not tear them apart. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments and fight for a system that values every fucking worker. Because in the end, we all eat. You guys make better choices out there. Peace.
President Trump's promise of mass deportations have sent fears to the Central Valley, where migrant farm workers aren't showing up to work. The California Farm Bureau says the industry's taken a hit after immigration agents conducted several operations in Kern County last week. And workers not showing up to work may lead to higher food prices. Here's why.
They're not going to show up for work, and that means crops will remain in the field and not be harvested and probably lost at that point.
The Farm Bureau joined Monterey County in pledging to do what they can to protect workers and their families.
They were called essential workers during the pandemic when our nation needed them, and now they are asking us to be there for them when they need us.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms. It's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvest, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the...
So you want to deport everyone, huh? In 2011, North Carolina needed 6,500 farm workers. Only 268 legal Americans applied, 245 were hired, but only 163 showed up to the first day. Worse, only 7 lasted till the end of the growing season. Migrant workers aren't taking your jobs, they're doing the jobs you would never do. And while they're doing that, they're paying taxes into Social Security, which they will never get back. And you want to deport them all. Have fun working on the farm.
I don't understand it either. It's not what I voted for. I voted for the criminals to be removed, 100%.
Did you know that there's really only about 4 ways to legally immigrate to this country? Did you know that there is a cap on the number of green cards that they hand out each year? Do you know that there's a limit to the number of refugees that we accept each year? That there are specific guidelines for seeking asylum in this country? Do you know that there is a limit for countries' immigration to the United States, and that the caps on the immigration include worker visas? Do you know any of the specific worker visas? Do you know the obligation not only for the person applying for that visa, but the person hiring that applicant? Do you know why some people have issues with them? For example, why some farmers don't like the H-2A, or shouldn't say don't like, the changes they would like to see for H-2A visas for farm workers? Like, do you know that there is a massive backlog for visa applications, court dates, timelines? Do you understand why the immigration system needs an overhaul? What's broken about it? What's backlogged? Like, I'm curious to know what y'all think the immigration fight has been about for the last 15 to 20 years in this country. What do you think George Bush was trying to do in 2007? What do you think Barack Obama was trying to do in his administration? That was the closest we ever came to comprehensive overhaul of the immigration system in this country. And that was scuttled by John Boehner, who was Speaker at the time, who refused to bring that bill to the floor for a vote. And he says to this day that is one of his single biggest regrets as Speaker. Like, why do you think the DACA program was created? What do you think happened there? Did you know that statistically, immigrants, including undocumented immigrants, commit less crime than native-born U.S. citizens do? Do you know what the background checks look like? What it entails? Did you know that there's a difference between like committing a crime in a criminal court and immigration court, which is civil, which means that the federal government is not required to provide an attorney for immigration courts, that if you cannot afford an attorney, you have to represent yourself? Did you know that it includes children, that there are kids as young as 3 and 4 years old who are representing themselves in immigration court? Did you know that since 1996, the U.S. has deported about 94,000 U.S. veterans? Why do you think after Donald Trump won in November, the 2 largest prison companies in the United States saw a huge bump in their stock? Why do you think corporations have not pushed for a more streamlined system for getting people legal status for workers in the United States? Because here's the thing, just because you didn't think Donald Trump was actually going to do what he said he was going to do does not mean this isn't what you voted for. Because it is. Like, the signs on the floor of the RNC didn't say just criminals. It said mass deportations now. That's this. You are getting what you voted for. Lying to yourself is not the same thing as being lied to. Because there were so many people telling y'all that this is exactly what this is going to look like. This is exactly how this was going to go. This is what you voted for. And it's great that you're like now coming to the realization that it's staring you in the face, that you can't avoid it, that like this is awful and this is not what you want. But like, it still seems a lot like lip service. What are you doing to show people that you mean that? Because to be honest, there's so many things in your video that indicate you don't really know anything about the immigration system in this country. What's wrong with it, why it's flawed, the changes that it needs, what's it's going to take. Like this is why it's so frustrating to try and have these conversations with y'all. And remembering to be kind and patient in those conversations. Because this has been a fight that so many people have been fighting and advocating for years, but especially last year. The amount of people who were saying, screaming from the rooftops, what this is going to look like, what this is going to do. And y'all actively chose to ignore those people. You know, you said in your follow-up video, I just don't understand why we can't come together. Great question. You tell me. Because the time to do that was last November and you didn't take the opportunity. So like, to come on here now and say that this isn't what you voted for, of course you're going to get some anger and pushback. Like, we're here now. There's no going back and like changing it and undoing it. We're here. It's working to fix it moving forward. And what are you doing to help facilitate that change? To let this administration know that this is unacceptable, that you won't go along with this. Like, what immigration organizations do you follow? Do you pay attention to? How about, what do you follow any unions? Because they've been also have been great about, like rapid organizing, telling people how it is that they can help to protect immigrant communities. Have you called any of your legislators? Ashley Moody, Rick Scott, I don't know who it is for you up in Tampa. It could be any 3, 4, depending on where you're at. Have you called them? Do you know you can contact the White House? Have you done that? Like, have you showed up to any protests? Like, what is it exactly that you're doing to show people that this is unacceptable and that you won't tolerate this? Because I'm going to be honest, getting online and tagging Donald Trump and saying this isn't what you want is lip service. It doesn't mean shit. He didn't give a shit. He does not care. So you want to show people that you really want to come together and you want a solution to this? How about try listening to the people who've been fighting for that solution for a very long time now? And the first step in that is acknowledging, admitting, owning up to the fact this is what you voted for. That you had a hand in facilitating what is currently happening. That is step number 1.
Look like farmers are running out of cash, y'all. Under the crisis brought on by Trump. You know, some small farmers, they're on the brink of bankruptcy. They can't afford to run their farms. Well, they ain't got to worry, because J.D. Vance is there, yeah, to buy up that fucking land. Because that's what they wanted from the beginning. That's my opinion. They wanted to boot some of the farmers out so they can buy that land. They wanted their land. It's a goddamn shame that the farmers didn't see it coming. Goddamn shame. Yeah, they didn't see it coming. If they had this, you know, did a little more research, especially on J.D. Vance. He want that goddamn land. He want their land. That's my opinion. But if they had took the time and did some research, I think they wouldn't have voted Trump. But that's my opinion. Oh well. They lose the land, they lose their land.
There's stories all over the internet about farmers going bankrupt across the country. And I want you to know, I want to feel sorry for you. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to care at all. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because typically I have empathy, but I'm really, really tired of telling you farmers and you people that are in rural parts of the United States, I'm tired of telling you what your vote does to you. Yeah, I mean, you guys in the red states, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you're broke. You don't have any money. West Virginia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, you get my point. You're broke. And yet you keep voting for the Republican Party that wants nothing to do with you. And farmers, guess what? You're included. But you keep voting red, and now you want me to feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. I just can't.
Who says they're surprised? The raids leave California crops rotting in the fields. According to a Reuters article, immigration raids in California have decimated the farm labor, with some farmers reporting up to 70% of their workforce gone. Ventura County farms, which contributes billions to the U.S. food supply, are seeing fruits and vegetables rot at peak harvest due to labor shortages. ICE enforcement has driven fear across the agricultural sector, affecting both undocumented and documented workers, and farmers are warning that without urgent labor solutions, the industry could collapse. Economists even predict price hikes, and major supply chains disruption. Despite Trump acknowledging the problem, no relief measures have been enacted. Workers now fear deportation more than heat or hardship in the fields. So good luck trying to find people who want to do that work. Darn. So this is what's going to happen, and we have Trump to thank. My name is Ruby Powers, your go-to immigration attorney.
California's citrus harvest is in trouble. There just aren't enough workers. Farmers across the state are struggling because immigration crackdowns have scared off much of the workforce. In some areas, harvest crews have dropped from 30 workers to just 5. That means fruit is sitting unpicked, and experts warn this could lead to higher food prices. California agriculture relies on over 55,000 migrant workers. So what happens if labor shortages continue? Will this lead to higher prices? Let me know your thoughts below and follow for updates.
Good morning from California. Our news is reporting that the citrus harvest has come to a halt here in the Central Valley. And the reason why is because migrants do not want to come to work for fear of being deported. And obviously, we all know that there aren't Americans doing these jobs. So yeah, the harvest of citrus here in California is at a halt. So not only are things gonna rot if they don't get picked and shipped in time, also the price of citrus will go up And, you know, you saw it in the comments of my other video. Everybody wants the illegal migrants to leave. So this will affect so many things. You just do not understand what's about to happen. It's just too crazy out there.
Hi guys, I'm B-Boy. Welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. Remember, if it was for the first time you come across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share, and all credits goes to the original creator of the video. Okay guys, in today's clips is that California farmers, they are now stormed that there's no anyone to go and pick food in their farms. A lot of food they're really rotting in their farms because of S agents, the way they are really going and detaining and arresting people. Some of them that really came out in large number and said that 70% of the workforce they haven't shown in the work farms, making them to lose their farms because earlier on these people, one thing they really did a very big mistake, and this is the reason why we call it racism. It's expensive because these people, one thing, they voted out of their own interest. They voted to make black people suffer. They voted out of racism and out of hatred because they thought if they vote for this mass deportation of all immigrants, maybe President Donald Trump will convince black people to go and help them in their farms. But right now, we've all seen black people, they have really refused to go and work in this white farmer's farm because they're telling them they also have their own farms to do on. They also have degrees, they have their special work to do. So ICE agents, they have really made a lot of people to suffer, especially these California farmers and white farmers across all over America, because they are going and arresting the workforce that are going to work in these farms. And we all know a lot of people, or a lot of people who are really working in these farms were the immigrant, because the immigrant were really making this workforce easier. And one thing people really don't know, that this work labor also needs some special skills. You can't just go in these farms and work. It also needs some skills. So earlier on, we do remember a lot of white people really came out in line and they're saying that these immigrants, they're the one who have taken their jobs. And right now, there's not anyone to work in these farms. Right now, there's more job opportunities. Why do these same people can't go and work in these farms? Earlier on, they were saying that a lot of immigrants have taken their jobs. Now, a lot of immigrants are being deported back to their countries. The work labor, it has reduced. There's not anyone to go and work in these farms. Foods are rotting in their farms, and as soon as possible, the price of this food stuff will hike up. It will start to be so expensive, whereby a lot of people won't be able to afford it. And those people who are really saying that immigrants have taken their jobs, now it's a good opportunity to go and work in these farms. And there's a lot of people who have really come out in line and are saying that put those beautiful MAGA hats on and work the farms. Go and put a lot of black people that really came out and comment that these people, they should put on those beautiful MAGA hats and go work in their farms, because earlier on black people really want these people but they couldn't have listened. Black people really want them but they couldn't have listened because they really knew what this new administration will do to them. And other people have came out and said that farmers should tell the migrant hating people who are complaining they are stealing our jobs that the jobs are now open for them. Another comment is that, why do you think Trump kept saying that immigrants were taking black jobs? These farmers actually thought black folks were going back to the fields. Yeah, they really thought that if they deport all these immigrants, that black people will go and help these white farmers or California's farmers, Nebraska's farmers to go and help them. But right now, there's not any black people who have really come out and they're really going to work in these farmers, because black people, they have really came out and said that they have their special job to do. Another person really came out and said that give them exactly what they voted for. These people voted for this, so they should take what they voted for, because if they couldn't have not voted out of hatred and racism, right now there could be some people to harvest the crops in their farms. Another person really came out and said that even if they stopped this mass deportation today, an immigrant will have to be crazy to go back to a state like Nebraska anytime soon. The people of Nebraska didn't stand up for the people in the state, so they don't deserve them. Yeah, when ICE agents are really detaining and arresting these people. There's no any white farmers or from California who are standing for them, defending this immigrant. This is the reason why this person is saying this. If they can have another chance to go there, they will go there, but they will work while they are lazy. Another person say that you all farmers pick yourself up by the bootstrap, as you always say, and go and work in your farm. Another person really came out and said that who told them black people will pick their crops? Real farmers had big families. The children they had picked their produce. Poor planning produce poor performance. Another person really came out and said that African Americans farmers work with less. They filled out the same forms for help from the government. They got little to nothing. While red states receive aid, African American farmers know the pain. Yeah. So these people, this is what you voted for. And if they couldn't have voted for this, they couldn't be crying out of how they're losing their farms, of how they're going bankrupt, of how the product of food or the price product of the food will increase, or the price will hike up. So guys, we really hope things could be better in America once again, and America could be greater once again. If it was for the first time guys you're coming across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for your time. May God bless whenever you are. One love.